Good morning, this is Chris Wigman with GroupOne Consulting. We're here today with one of our valued partners in RSC Engineering. They've been a partner client of ours now for 14 years, and we're here today with Roger Wilson. Thanks for joining us. So maybe you can share a little bit about what RSC does.
Yeah, so we are a civil engineering firm. We're relatively a pretty small firm in the area. I mean, we have 11 employees. What sets us apart is we have the on-staff land planner, Tiffany Wilson. Most engineering firms won't have that. We focus on commercial, multifamily, don't venture much into the residential side, but we do work with other residential firms. Being a small firm, I think, sets us apart too, because it's a lot more personal with our clients. We know who we're talking to. We know who the jobs are going to and who's working on what. So
yeah,
that sets us apart, as well as the Tiffany being like a certified land planner, which is very rare.
Yeah, I know it's a really business to business, relationship based business. I was walking around the office and I saw a lot of the similar faces that I've seen going back almost 14 years, which is really great. It actually speaks to that personalized service and retention of employees. So that's really great. Speaking about your interactions with GroupOne specifically, I know that Gary, the account manager on our team, who's been with us for 7 years, you've had your primary interactions with him.
Yeah.
I think at some point you ended up getting thrust into being the IT point of contact. How did that all go about?
This is the first company I've worked for where we've outsourced our IT. We've had a lot of it's been, we've had a IT person on staff.
Yeah.
So I kind of was working with them, but when I came here, they didn't need me because we had Carrie Baxter, who worked with you guys.
Oh yeah.
And Cheryl Chavez did a lot of the work.
Yep.
But then they both kind of disappeared for a little while. Like Cheryl retired, she's happily retired, and Carrie went to work for another company.
Sure. And
it just kind of fell to me. It just was kind of a natural progression.
Yeah, and then you had it, and he came back, and you still have it.
Yeah, so. He doesn't want it back.
How has your interactions been with Gary, and just in general working with GroupOne?
Oh, Gary's been great from the beginning. Yeah. Gary's really good about letting us know when we need to be aware stuff's coming up.
Good.
And then it gets to Dan, who's, okay, this is what we have to do. Like we've been in this office for about 2.5 years.
Yep.
And when we moved in, you guys, Gary and Dan, and there were a few other people, obviously, but they kind of led the charge just to get us set up. So when we got everybody back in, we were rolling and ready to go.
Yeah.
So it's been really good working with you guys. Very responsive, very helpful, very knowledgeable.
I know over the years, we've done various transitions, server upgrades, and these kinds of things. And then we did most recently, I would say, was your move here from your other Roseville office. Those went pretty smooth for you, or?
Yeah, they were really easy. But I like to make sure everything's going to go well from both sides. We provide you guys with what you need from us, and to make sure everything goes smoothly for everybody, because there's always a hiccup.
Yeah, I think investing in, when I think on our end a little bit about that specifically, how we're a little unique is investing in the project side, so the project management side. So we have a couple project managers on staff. Dan, obviously you mentioned Dan, he's been with us for many, many years now, I think 7-8 years. It's good to have that consistency and the same people you've worked with in the past, and I'm glad to hear that that's gone well. I know over the years we've transitioned you from various cloud type sharing platforms. Most recently moved you guys into using more of the Office 365 stack, using like OneDrive and Sharepoint. Just curious how that's worked out for you from an engineering firm's perspective. Large files, sharing a lot of data out to other construction companies that need to review your plans and those sorts of things. And just curious to know how that's worked.
It's actually gone really well. As you and I have been in touch, like probably past month or so, we did do the OneSync.
Yeah.
But once we got on the Teams and the OneDrive and the SharePoint, sharing files is super easy.
That's awesome.
It doesn't take up the space on our server, which was a huge problem or the Outlook, the email, just sending huge files doesn't always work because some people have restrictions on what sizes they can get.
Yep.
So the SharePoints and OneDrive has been great, being able to get it out to clients or contractors or
Sure.
whoever we need to, because sometimes AutoCAD files can be pretty big.
Yeah, they can. Are you seeing other construction firms using this type of technology, or are they using other technologies?
It's
Like FTP servers was a big thing back in the day, and I know that's when we started with RSC. We were doing a lot of file sharing through like file transfer protocol.
Yeah, similar files. Some of the companies we work with will have their own kind of file share system.
Sure.
It's almost like a Dropbox type thing, but
Okay.
it's through their website.
Yeah.
So they load it there, and it's still cloud based. So it's very similar to OneDrive and SharePoint.
Yeah. Well, it's great to hear that that's all worked out really well for you. So a couple of years ago, we started to notice a trend with insurance carriers where they were starting to require more security requirements of their clients, customers, to be able to write insurance policies. So a few years ago, I built what we coin internally at GroupOne our security stack. That's obviously evolved over the years as I start to see the requirements change from the cyber insurance firms. But thinking back to when we started that implementation process, how did that go for you? And do you feel like you found value in that? But just more so interested to know how that process went, and then what the potential pain was of the organization, if any, of doing like multi-factor authentication. Because there's always this like, it's going to be such a painful thing for us. And, we have employees that we don't want them to use their cell phones. So I'm just curious to know like how that worked out for you guys.
We haven't had any painful transitions as far as the multi-factor authentication. Nobody complained about doing it.
That's great.
And if they did, we just put it through to my cell phone, and I was able to approve it for them.
Okay, great.
You guys worked with us to work around that, but going back to when we implemented it, we did have a client, because we did not have it before. Because like you said, it's fairly new within the past few years, and we never had any reason to, because who's going to hack us for a bunch of AutoCAD files?
Yeah.
But going back, we did have a client who they had two separate sides to their business, but it was one overall requirement for their entire company that needed the cybersecurity. That's when we just found out about, like a day before we needed the insurance. And that was when I mailed you and Gary, and you were on it right away.
Yeah.
And I think that also sets us apart a little bit, is because since then we've had clients who have said, hey, we need you to have cybersecurity, and we're like, here you go.
Yeah.
And they're like, they're kind of shocked that we already have it, being such a small firm.
Good.
So that's kind of given us a leg up. But it's been in the background. So other than the Duo notifications, I don't think anybody notices anything.
Yeah, that's good. That's a great point. We're starting to see MSPs that actually require their client partners to have cyber liability policies. So it's good to know that you guys are continuing that, to stick with that. And also, we're seeing some changes and some trends with insurance carriers requiring more cyber tools. So that's on us to actually implement these. So going into next year, we'll be implementing mandatory security awareness training and phishing training. So that's one of the elements, and there's various others that we'll be implementing and including in our service. So
that would be great, because sometimes we're working so fast, and if another company's been hacked and you say, oh, it's an invoice, and click on it, you never know what happens.
Sure.
So I think bringing awareness to that side would be great.
Well, it's coming down the pipe.
Okay.
I think just one of the last topics I'll touch on, just because it's a hot topic, and maybe you have some thoughts in the space, and that's specific to AI. I had mentioned that we have some forward thinking going on where we're going to be leveraging some AI tools from Microsoft to help in our support desk process a bit. So thinking about your industry specifically, maybe industry newsletters or anything of that nature, have you heard of any cool AI type solutions for the construction-based industry?
Not really. We were actually just talking about this not too long ago, that a lot of our stuff is already computer-based. So it's already, you put something in, it spits something out.
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot of red pencil to paper anymore like it used to be.
Okay. How about like automation or robotic automation? So workflows and those kinds of things.
I don't know if that's coming down the pipe for our industry yet.
Okay.
I think our industry is usually a little behind, and that just because you do get a lot of older, more experienced people who like to do things a certain way.
Sure.
And they're not ready for that change yet. But I think as you start seeing more of this generation, the kids who are graduating college now or just getting into it or working their way up.
Yeah.
And the more experience is getting phased out, I think you might start to see a trend towards that.
Sure.
But for now, I don't see AI really doing much in the engineering. I could see the construction side doing a little more robotics where you don't need the actual person being there to put a form together or pour concrete or make sure something's level. I could see that going that way, but
so no,
not yet.
No computer bot that's going to automatically draw your drawings for you, huh?
I hope
Wishful
not.
thinking, right?
I hope not, because that puts a lot of people out of work.
Yeah, that's sure. Well, we really appreciate you being here today and doing this short podcast video with us. We do appreciate your partnership, obviously 14 years, and we love working with you guys, and we value you as a partner. So thank you again.
Well, thank you. No, it's been great working with you guys. I tell Gary all the time that one of the great things is we're a small firm. We have 11 people. Yeah. But we never feel like a small firm when we're working with you guys.
That's great.
We feel like you guys are responsive, like right away. It's always great. And we always feel like we're one of your top clients, even though we're one of your smallest. So.
That's because you play golf. So
it could be.
Yeah.
Well,
if you play golf, we treat you differently.
Then I'll keep playing and I'll go beat Torino on the course next year.
Yes, please do. I look forward to seeing that.